Hi there. Yep, as Davian said, my name is Wef Jubster. I am playing Timespinner Randomizer level cap 1, which means, if you know how experience points in video games work, you gain levels, and I will not be doing that today. I also, thanks to the lovely donations towards the incentive and otherwise, I will also have an HP cap of 128. That is the starting HP cap. I will not have any more than 128 points of health at any point during this run. So some people may have caught my 1 HP cap run from the summer. And you all might be thinking to yourself, well, Wef, you've got like way more than 1 HP. This just seems like an easier version of 1 HP cap. And you might be right. But this does come with its own set of challenges. Specifically, I have damage randomization turned off for this run, so I can't just find a buffed plus orb and just hang out on that forever. I've got to actually play the I have to play the spells and orbs that I think are going to be optimal for this for any given fight that I'm doing. I can kind of hear myself. I don't
I believe Dark Moon is hot. When in doubt, blame the restreamer. There we go.
All right, cool. Yeah, I was stammering over myself because I kept hearing myself talk, and I was interrupting myself. Anyway, more about this run. So, since I'm not leveling up, my stats aren't going up, and because my stats aren't going up, I'm basically going to be dealing the same amount of damage for the entire run. And the only way that's going to change is if I find good equips. And so if I don't find good equips, I am going to be in some serious trouble for a little bit. So while it's not as stressful as 1 HP cap, it is kind of challenging in its own way. You'll see when I get towards the end, if I haven't found really good equipment yet, then what's gonna happen is it's going to turn into basically 1 HP mode in that things are just going to be one-shotting me regardless. So it has its own set of challenges. I quite enjoy doing level cap, and that hasn't been shown off as far as I'm aware in a tournament or a showcase setting. So I was eager to do that. A lot of people play with level cap, and it just like it's kind of just below the radar, but usually it's like level cap 10, level cap 15. Not really level cap 1. That's kind of a thing that not a lot of people do. And I think it's just really interesting challenge. It does a little bit more with one of the things about this game is it is meant to be, I won't say meant to be easy. I would say that it is not meant to be difficult. So we randomizer developers decided, well, why not do what we can to provide a little bit of extra challenge? And this is just one of the many ways we've done it. I'm also playing with the enemy randomizer on. You're probably, we've done a lot with the Final Fantasy randomizer community, and the Final Fantasy randomizer community plays a lot of Timespinner, and so you may have all had a lot of exposure to this game. So you probably have seen enemy randomizer, especially in the context of archipelago games. What's fun here is the reason that enemy randomizer creates its own little bonus challenge here is that sometimes if you've been playing this game for a long time, you see an enemy and you're like, oh, that enemy's not a problem. That enemy doesn't deal damage. And then they find themselves in a spot where they have higher stats because it's all scaled to the enemy that it got replaced. And so when that happens, that enemy's not supposed to be here. So you kind of have to adapt on the fly. Usually this is a really tough enemy, but he replaced a kind of weak enemy, so I know I can take a hit. But The key here is being aware of what enemies are replaced where. Like, I know I can just deboost through some of these, but this one is a weaker enemy that is replacing a stronger one. And then this dog is another one where you just have to be aware because it's typically pretty tanky and has a lot of a weird kind of atypical attack pattern. This bird replacing a kind of like a tankier enemy. So has a lot of HP, but typically does not have this much HP. So you're seeing it like absorb a lot of damage. I'm just kind of killing this thing as an example. So yeah, as I'm going through this, you'll see that I am playing with Enter Sandman on as well. Enter Sandman being a flag that allows me to go to the end game area even if I am not actually ready to beat the game. But I can't actually beat the game until I have all 5 pieces of the Timespinner. That's the name of the video game I'm playing. There are 5 pieces of the Timespinner: the spindle, the wheel, and 3 gears. And I need all of those to actually enter the final boss door. But I can go to the final area even if I don't have those, because there might be items I need to progress elsewhere in the game that are in that end game area. And that's another area where you're probably going to see the enemy rando do some weird stuff. Yeah, so that is the gist of it. And now that I have stopped talking, I realize that I've left behind a couple checks, but that's fine. Everybody knows that if you skip a check, there's nothing there. All right, so here's something else. We're playing with Rising Tides. And what that means is there's going to be some areas that have water in them that don't typically have water. So I cannot do that loop area that would typically be available to me until I have the water mask, which lets me actually swim. I'm setting up a save scum here because I can't really do much here. The only way I can actually do anything here is if I pick up some sort of vertical movement in this next room. There's 2 item checks here. And there's Plasma Geyser and a trendy jacket. I'm going to go ahead and save out of this. I can't really progress, and it's just kind of a backtrack that I can avoid. I can just get that Plasma Geyser laser later. It might be relevant, but it isn't relevant right now. So what I'm going to have to do, since I can't progress, I'm going to backtrack back out of here, pick up all those checks that I didn't get the first time I went through the area. And I don't want to jinx myself. I feel like I might jinx myself if I say it too loud, but I'm feeling a little bit lucky here. There are some really awkward, mean enemies that can replace certain enemies. Specifically the enemy called a Hellgazer, which is like a spider that is also a laser. And it kind of acts as a wall that like blocks your movement. And look at that water mask. See, I thought I had picked that up, and apparently I hadn't. But that water mask, like I said, allows me to swim in those areas that have flooded, that are not supposed to be flooded. And I'm just going to go ahead and backtrack right now and take care of those. Let's see here. Yeah, no, we should be good. All right. So level cap 1, you'll notice that the enemies are going to start getting stronger and stronger, and I'm not going to get any stronger. So like I said before, it's going to seem a lot like it's easier than the run I did in the summer, but I assure you it is going to get more and more awkward the longer the run goes. And I'm just going to do some collecting, so if you have any donations or whatever to read out, now would be an incredible time to do it.
Well, at the moment, we have not gotten any more donations. There are plenty of incentives coming up. Would love to see more fun with that randomizer that's up here, the Archipelago for Final Fantasy Randomizer, and Link. Is it Link Awakening DS, I believe?
Yeah, there's also, I don't know if all the incentives have been met for that, but there's also another Timespinner run that is going to be a race, a glitches required race, which is going to be a blast that I'm going to be doing commentary on tomorrow, which is going to be really exciting to watch. Yeah,
There's
so you
a
see that
lot of
max health
races.
up that I just picked up. That is essentially just going to be a free heal for me. I'm going to be at that 128 HP cap for the duration of this run. Another thing to note that I should note about level 1 cap is that the only way I can get any more max MP or max sand, and I'll talk about sand later for the uninitiated, but the only way that my max MP can go up is by picking up a max aura actual item. Since I'm not leveling up, that number's not going up until I pick up an item that lets it happen. It's kind of like that max health up that didn't do anything. Fortunately, the max aura ups still do something. All right. And that is key here because the spell I have, Jin Inferno, is quite popular amongst Timespinner runners because it has a glitch that allows you. It has a glitch that allows you to infinitely cast it, but you have to have enough aura to cast it twice. And until I get a couple max aura ups, I am not going to have enough to cast it twice. So I'll essentially be able to just cast it one good time, and then I'll have to wait to regenerate some of my aura in order to cast it again. A bit of a bummer. I'm going to go ahead and raise this drawbridge here and get the item that is down here. Again, I'm feeling a little lucky. We haven't had any real cursed enemy replacements right now. But I'm going to head to a little different area of the map, and we'll see if my luck changes here. I'm fully expecting that it will. That dog is like the number one enemy that you just end up accidentally running face first into because you're just not ready for it to be there. I hope I get the Timespinner wheel soon because there's some other stuff that is interesting with enemy randomizer that happens if you have the ability to stop time. Namely, a lot of the times if you're trying to play this game quickly, like I am right now, you have rooms that you can kind of expect to go into them with time stopped, and you can just jump and run past all of the enemies in it. Well, there are a number of enemies in this game that are immune to time stop. If you stop time, they keep moving. They do not care. Yeah, I'll go this way. They just do not care. And so you will run into a room expecting entirely to just be able to run right through it, no problem. And then you run face first into an enemy that is still moving and can still deal damage to you. And when you're running on very low stats, that can be incredibly dangerous. Yeah, I'll taunt Marathon RNG all I want. If it makes the run more interesting, then I'll do it. All right, so we do have access thanks to this water mask. See, okay. These are some enemies that are immune to time stop. They're also very, very end game enemies. Fortunately, stop. Why is it doing this? Fortunately, like I'm trying to say, it's they're replacing enemies that are not very strong. All right, and here's our first Hellgazer. Again, replacing an enemy that has like 14 HP, so Not a problem now. If they start showing up in more awkward places, then I could maybe be in a bit of trouble. I do have arm cannon. If there are some areas where enemy randomizer can create something that is close to a soft lock, or just a very difficult situation. But I have arm cannon. Arm cannon has a part of its attack that has homing missiles. Oh, yeah, I am running an old version. Those blue dudes actually aren't supposed to be in there. They can cause crashes, but it's fine. They didn't cause a crash this time. We're all right. Okay, so my max aura is still 85, which means I still don't have enough to chain. I still don't have enough to chain Jin Inferno casts together. Relying pretty heavily on this Empire Orb I have. The Empire Orb is the single strongest melee orb that exists, just pound for pound, stat for stat. So I'm able to kind of rely on that right now. But again, all the enemies are go. Okay, sorry, spooked a little bit there. All the enemies are going to get stronger, and I'm going to stay the same strength. So even having a really, really good orb like this is only going to help me if I find some good gear. Right now, the gear has been pretty mediocre, so Traveler's Cloak is not going to help me. Lab glasses they're fine. They're, I believe, used in the speed run, but they're probably like the 5th or so best. I don't know, 5th. Yeah, they're probably like the 5th best helmet item, which is good for early game. They don't supply like hardly any defensive bonus, and usually I wouldn't care about defensive bonus in this randomizer, but things are going to start hurting, and any bit of defense might actually help. I'm just going to grab the save. We're going to go up and finish up the top of Lake Serene here. I have a fire source so I can burn these vines. And also I saw an Eternal Crown on the right side hanging out on a ledge that I couldn't get to. So my plan here is I'm going to... I'm just going to go and burn all these vines and... well, I'm going to go fight this boss first. If I go to the right now, the reason I hesitate is because I will abandon a check over there unless I can get some sort of vertical movement. All right, so we are going to... Let's see here. What do we got? Oh, I have an economizer ring. This is what I should be doing. And I still don't have enough to cast it twice. So this is a bit of a risky boss. I don't have a way to stop time or jump very well, so I'm basically guaranteed to be taking some damage here. I do have one filigree tea. So what I'm going to do is you're going to see me chain these spell casts together, even though I'm not going to be able to hit him on some of them. If I keep chaining it together, then I won't actually lose any aura. You can see the blue bar on the top left of my screen here. I'm actually at full aura right now. I need to heal. That would have killed me. There. Not a bad spot to find that boss, given my my current inventory. Could have been a lot worse. Okay, so I burned those vines. They are going to create gaps where vines used to be in the present once we're able to warp there. I have two means of getting to the present. The first will be finding the Twin Pyramid Key and having a warp that is in the present be the free warp that I get with that Twin Pyramid Key. The other way, was not expecting something that could poison me to be down here. The other way would be to find the spindle and wheel, which would let me create a warp from the past refugee camp into the library in the present, which honestly, depending on where my warp ends up being, that's probably the thing that I would rather have, just to ensure that I have access to the library and I don't get screwed by some really, really obnoxious area that it's going to make me go through in order to get to the library. There are a lot of checks there, and it's kind of a nice central location, a nice hub. Oh, Jesus. Okay. How are we going to deal with that guy?
Well, as you deal with the doggo, we've got a donation for $25 from TP Silvertown. Spin those times, Weth. Don't forget to check Baron in.
Thanks, Silvertown. All right, so this is the chest that I'm not going to be able to get right now. So that's unfortunate. We'll have to come back to that later, or maybe we won't have to come back to that later. Hopefully we don't have to come back to that later. The chest just has like a consumable in it or something. I disagree. That ink did not hit me. All right, so we're going to grab this Eternal Crown. That is going to improve our defense significantly and our damage by a little bit. I might as well equip this Ancient Coin too. And let's see. I think we'll just go back over the top so we don't have to deal with swimming. Okay, so that Eternal Crown is going to help me significantly for a little bit. It's not like I have a good body armor, which is going to help me a lot more if I can find something like a princess dress, an eternal coat. Even a lab coat would be great. What do I have on? The Midnight Cloak. It's fine early game. It is going to essentially provide zero impact to my gameplay once I start getting into the later areas of the game. We already beat this boss, so we are going to just go down to an area that we cannot full clear in logic. We're going to have to yet again abandon some checks. This bird is bullying me. Librarian robe? Okay, sure. Yeah, the librarian robe seems fine. We'll wear the librarian robe. It's a little bit better than the Midnight Cloak.
Dark Moon in chat pointing out we are only $100 away from beating the summer 2022 day 2 total. Can we get some more donos in? This is all for charities. Sport burn patients.
Yeah.
Keep the kids happy. Make the kids' lives be that of a kid.
It is a really great cause that I am excited to help in some way raise money for. I had mentioned the Gin Inferno glitch earlier. This is one of the areas where it is really good. Oh boy. Please tell me I can get up high enough to hit this thing with the Gin Inferno. I can't. Can't hit it with... Okay. I'll use Arm Cannon. So that's the kind of stuff that you kind of have to look out for with enemy rando. That thing that I just did there, not guaranteed to be available. There are usually enough tools to handle it, but I was kind of lucky that I had that arm cannon there. So there's a check there that I can't get, so I'm just going to run right past it. Hopefully, again, some of these double dips aren't going to curse me. All right. Metal wristband is no help. And Chaos Rose also no help. So we're going to save scum there. We have... Unfortunately, we have to abandon, unless we get really... Ooh, don't like this room. Unless we get lucky and get some vertical movement real soon, we are going to have to abandon 4 checks in a place that's called Jackpot Room. Well, this room's fun. Fortunately, we don't have to worry about that because it was on the floor this time. Ninth ring is kind of whatever. Okay, so I can't make this jump yet. So there's 4 chests there that I'm not going to be able to grab, unfortunately. This isn't vertical to save me, so we are going to continue through this. We're going to have to abandon yet another check down here. And it seems likely we're going to have to double dip this, but hopefully it's not too bad. We're going to just jump this. This is one of the enemies that is not randomized. I think the reason is it's sort of baked into the environment a little bit. Oh, was expecting not to kill it. Didn't kill it. That's fine. All right. So you're going to see an oxygen meter pop up above my head. This area has been flooded with toxic gas by the randomizer to sort of add another layer of logic behind the boss that you fight here. It's a flag called Stinky Maw, and if you don't realize that it's a flag, it's because you probably play it in Archipelago, where it's on by default always. Okay, well, we have a spider there up the top that I'm going to have to deal with. Again, arm cannon. Pretty lucky to have that. I'm just going to let this slime just kind of fall. There you go. That's one of the bad ones, isn't it? We're going to just do it this way. Cool. All right, so that dropped a princess dress, which I'm very excited about. We're going to bait that spider over. Blood orb. That also kind of homes upward, which is very helpful. The slime just waiting for me at the bottom of the elevator shaft, thanks. Bit of tech here that I'm going to have to use. I have a max HP of 128, which I also have this Shadow Seal on. And the Shadow Seal, what that does is the more HP you're missing, the higher your damage is. Unfortunately, it is not by percentage. It's actually by like a flat number. So if you're missing like 120 HP, regardless of how much like your max HP is, your bonus to Shadow Seal is going to be about the same. So Shadow Seal, decent right now, probably not going to be as good later. But until then, it is a good way to kind of take advantage of the extra damage I'm taking from having low stats by making it increase my attack power at least. Make up for the lack of plus orbs. Oh, okay. I could probably take these hits, actually. I can actually play this game a little bit intentionally for a little bit here because of the gear that I've found. But again, we are going to reach 1-2 shot territory pretty soon. It's another max aura up, which I quite like that. As I said before, the only way I can get more MP is by picking up those collectibles, so. All right, I still don't have any way to get to the present. So it looks like I have exactly 1 check that is in logic. That's exciting. It also happens to be a boss fight that is a bit advanced past the scaling that I am currently at as a player right now. So I'm going to have to just play the game well, unfortunately. I thought I was going to have an easy way about it. Oh, I should have picked up that royal casserole. Oh, well. Righty. So, yeah, this is going to be the Canterin fight. It's one of the optional flags. It doesn't have to be on. It's a side quest boss in the vanilla game. My favorite item in the whole game. I mean, if you're talking about like weapons and stuff like that, I'm a big fan of bombardment. Bombardment is a really, really great great spell that plays to the way that I like to play the game, which is very up close and very just damage racy. If you're talking about like gear, I mean, Sellen's Bangle is just something that just always pays off regardless of when you find it. The extra experience that you get is almost definitely going to outscale any other stat that you might get. You just kind of have Sellen's Bangle on and then unequip it at the very end when you're about to fight the final bosses, and there you go. All right, here we go. Who's here? All right. So, fortunately, we are running into this really terrible boss with pretty much the perfect counter to it. You just kind of chill over here and launch meatballs at this thing until it dies. I'm going to have to chase it. I unfortunately do not have any vertical movement. So this arena, it makes it a little bit difficult to actually give chase. I cannot take another hit, so I gotta have to either... No, we're gonna have to heal. Okay, so no vertical movement is what makes this fight a little bit difficult. No time stop. I'm basically gonna have to just take damage on purpose in order to have it not interrupt my jumps. Oh, these wheels are very finicky. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah, he gets really hyperactive, throwing birds at you sometimes. And it's hard to maneuver with just single jump and no time stop through some of these things. All right, so what? I have one healing item left. Fantastic. I'll just go from up here. Oh, whoo, whoo. Okay, I'm just gonna grab this light wall, and I'm gonna heal. So that light wall. Okay, that light wall is our verticality here. It's a spell that creates, you guessed it, a light wall, and it sort of is used as a staircase or a ladder. And you can use that to reach places vertically that you can't without a jump or a double jump or anything like that. So that is our progression. And once again, it was at the last possible location I could have checked. And now that is technically infinite vertical, especially because I have the economizer ring here, which allows me to cast light walls for half of their actual aura cost. So I'm actually capable of climbing a pretty fair distance without having to use any aura restoratives. All right. If you could just stop throwing logs at me, that would be great. Thanks. Okay, you get to live. I have to respect the hustle. You get to live. All right. Just going to go ahead and get a cool save there. We've got a couple checks that I can do on the way over to where I actually want to go that I had to abandon because I didn't have verticality. This place we affectionately call Bat Ledge because you frequently have to use the time stop ability on a bat and then jump off of it in order to get to this area. I will not have to do that. And it's a little unfortunate because I would really, really, really enjoy having the time stop mechanic right now. It would make a lot of this a lot less dramatic. That boss fight would not have had to be as touch and go as it was. So yeah, this is Lightwall, and this is how I'm going to be climbing basically everything from here on out until I get a Celestial Sash. All right, so fortunately, this does mean that I am backtracking into areas that are not as high level as the place that I just came from. And so since I have that princess dress and that eternal crown, I'm actually feeling okay about just kind of taking hits. I don't like to take hits that poison me. Poison is remarkably bad in this game. It is percentage based, so it's always going to do the same percentage of your HP total. I'm going to scare these into not throwing those at me anymore. There we go, and we get that. It's a blue orb. Not really interested in that. Stupid dog. I'm probably going to unequip the fire orb. Just do Empire at this point. I also like enemy rando here because you get a little weirdness here with you, like these laser eyes that are just chilling in the distant past of when they're supposed to be. But for now, I am going to engage the D-booster and get back to the right side of the past where I can light wall into a new area. And hopefully, soon I will have the twin pyramid key, which will allow me to teleport around a little bit easier. All right, so I'm back. We did check. We did get a royal ring. I did pick up that plasma geyser earlier. I no longer need that plasma geyser because I have the royal ring, and the royal ring is pink. And if you have one pink item, doesn't matter which one it is, it will open up a door. You know what? We might as well just do this now. So this flag set I'm running today is a bit different than the flag set that a lot of runners have been used to. We have been running a lot of a flag called Unchained Keys, which does allow you to start with the Twin Pyramid Key and thus be able to warp around at will. But I am playing with that Enter Sandman flag, so this isn't as speedy of a flag set, especially since I have to be a little bit more careful as we get a vanilla boss here. This boss is weak to the light wall, so not only is light wall a utility for vertical movement, is also one of the best ways to kill many bosses in this game. And he's dead. It's a cool little zero cycle. And that's an aura restorative item, and I'm definitely going to want to pick that up. Without double jump, I am going to be casting a lot of light walls, and even with the economizer ring, it is probably going to require at least one aura restorative if I have to guess. And that's because I'm not leveling up, and my max aura would be going up, but it's just not. Oh yeah. Well, you just saw me. You saw me stacking light walls like that. So we were in the middle of a tournament, and the developer of this game, Bodhi, he actually just dropped this idea that a technique that we've been using to throw melee orbs out at an increased rate past the typical vanilla rate. You see, I'm doing this Empire orb. I'll try and find one that is a little bit better about it. So in regular, I'm just mashing as hard as I can, and this is the attack rate for this Radiant Orb. If I swap my loadouts, I can actually increase the amount of times I can attack per second significantly. So the reason that is because when you swap your loadouts, the timers reset entirely. Now, Light Wall has a limit of 3 light walls at a time. Now we're in the middle of a tournament. It's like the quarterfinals or something, maybe even the semifinals. And the developer of the game says, "Oh yeah, by the way, you could probably use that glitch to stack more than 3 light walls," and it just absolutely changed the metagame around light wall forever, which is, I think, just really, really funny. All right, so just catching you up, I did pick up that Gear 1, Timespinner Gear 1. That is one of those pieces of the Timespinner that we are going to need to actually finish the game. And so pretty happy to see that. It doesn't do anything itself. The only piece of the Timespinner that does anything itself is the wheel, and to a lesser extent the spindle if you have to time travel using it. Yeah, sure, whatever. The wheel allows you to stop time, and the gears here are only going to allow me to access the final boss. We'll do this. We could probably, yeah, probably make this jump or not. I may have screwed myself here. I'm going to just, yeah, I'm going to start this over so I don't have to. Feel a little bit ashamed. I am usually someone who repeatedly pleads newer players not to get cute with their light walls, and here I am getting cute with my light walls in order to save some aura. And yeah, I should just follow my own advice. And I still stand by it. Don't get cute with your light walls. Just cast the light walls and jump on them. It's fine. All right, so here's our shop. Oh, this is not great. Not a good shop. Ideally, I would have been able to buy warp shards there, but since I do not have the twin pyramid key, I can't. Warp shards, I guess, if we're using existing paradigms in Metroidvanias, warp shards are sort of like I don't know. I don't know what they allow you to go directly to the last warp point that you used. Someone who is better at Castlevanias than me, explain the analog from Castlevania. All right, so that max aura up is huge. Not only does it increase my max aura, but it also refills my aura, so I didn't have to use. Oh boy, that's an eternal coat. That is the best body armor in the game, so that's a big find. Okay, we'll just, you know what? We're just gonna do this. Oh, dang. Didn't quite get it. Doesn't matter. Here's a save point, and we're about to fight another boss here. Oh, baby. Okay, so our light wall troubles are now officially over. We have a Celestial Sash, which allows us to just infinitely vertically zoom wherever we want. And you'll see me doing a little bit more light wall stacking here. This boss has a cheese location. As you can see, if I just chill right here, I can just mash attack and it can't hit me. So it's dead. The gas mask. Okay, so that noxious fumes-filled area that I had mentioned earlier, that gas mask allows me to traverse that without running out of oxygen. So it now puts that boss in logic, which is good. We are making some pretty good progress here. Still really wish I had time stop. Really, really wish I had time stop, but you can't have everything. Once again, I'm kind of only going to be killing the things that are directly in my way that I can't just deboost through or jump around. Especially, whoo, it's raining giantesses. Especially since I have this Celestial Sash and I can just kind of zoom through things. I started with Dash because this is a marathon setting. See ya! This is a marathon setting. Oh, it's the Twin Pyramid Key. That is fantastic. This is... Get out of here. That's funny. The spider was still technically in bounds and hitting me. That Twin Pyramid Key is huge. Big fan of finding that. We are going to stop by this place again, and we are going to purchase these warp shards. I already picked up one, which was pretty cool. Fortunately, I didn't need it, but saves me a little bit of money. And all right, so we are Varney Metropolis, which is a good spot. It's kind of close to the library. I have the D and the B card, so that's where I'm going to go, actually. So we have now activated the time spinning portion of this randomizer, where we have spun time, and now we are in a different time period. Things are a little bit more technological. And notably, things are also a lot lower level, which is allowing me to kind of have a breath of air here, not worry too much about things. I'm going to be able to just punch things to death mostly. And there's Timespinner Gear 2 from our librarian friend. That's awesome. We like that. There are some items in these tablet areas that I can get as soon as I get a tablet, which will allow me to download the data, which gives me an item. But until I get the tablet, that's not going to do anything for us yet. There is another shop here that I'm going to stop by and see what they're selling. I've got really good gear now, but this is exactly what I'm looking for. Azure Stoles, probably one of the best items in the game, and able to purchase 2 of them for relatively cheap. My defense goes down a little bit, but I'm not super worried about that because it buffs my attack a whole bunch. I also picked up a Gilded Egg after I beat that boss in the tower, which sells for like a ton. I'm going to use that opportunity to purchase a bunch of Filigree Teas, which is an aura restorative item. And away we go. And there's our third gear. So we have all 3 Timespinner gears, no spindle and no wheel. The wheel and the spindle would put us in go mode, but we have so much of this game still to play. I'm not counting any Shavers before they hatch. Here's a room that will have a portal open up if I ever find an item called Kobo. It's a familiar that's like a little bit of robot. That's like a Kickstarter collab. If I get that item, then I can fight a very high-level boss at that location. I would rather not have to, but it is there if I get that Kobo item. It is 3 item checks, so it is possible that it is going to be required. Again, this is a very low-level area. This is actually the very beginning of the game. So I'm not super worried about taking damage from any of these enemies. I'm gonna go ahead and tag this warp, snag this. It's an old coat, and yeah, I was hoping for an elevator key card, didn't get it. That's fine. So the best part about this is now that I have that twin pyramid key, I can actually just go here and then warp back to where I started, and I don't have to backtrack. That's kind of the key to fast movement throughout this. The dash is nice, but the twin pyramid key is really where it's at. And this is another vanilla boss. This is a cat robot that is like torn in half, it looks like. Affectionately called Boots, after the voice actor who was a cat. All right, so, and there's our double jump. So that's all of our vertical movement that we're going to need. You know what? I'm going to snag this, and we're going to go down this way. Just trying to figure out the best way to route this. As you can see, like I said, this is basically the beginning of the game earlier. This is literally the beginning of the game now. So a lot of just running through and just laying waste to everything. Yeah, I have an Eternal Coat. Lab Coat is really good, but Eternal Coat is just the best in the game. Like, there's very few instances where you would want... In fact, I would say there's no instances where you would want a body armor that isn't the Eternal Coat. I'm just going to kill that thing before it can cause any crashes. We're going to grab this portal, go up. We've got a few things to clean up now that we have infinite vertical movement. But I'm going to kind of make the seed prove to me. I have 3 pieces of the Timespinner already. I only need 2 more. So at this point, the race mind in me is I need to make the seed prove to me that I need to go do any backtracking. It's going to be strictly new stuff until I kind of run out of good things to do. We will go ahead and stay up here for the moment. Now that I have dash and double jump and the celestial sash, this is kind of where the game shines. If people are not familiar with Timespinner at all, this is kind of the slick movement that the game really excels at. It is an incredible feeling to just kind of zoom through these areas. If there's not big laser walls in your way, it's nice to zoom through these areas. It feels really good. That's that elevator keycard I was looking for earlier. That's a big deal. We like that elevator keycard. We can actually use that to get a whole bunch of checks that were not available to us earlier. But what I am going to do, I don't have the tablet yet. I don't know. I'm kind of torn on what my next option is. I think depending on what's here, I'm just going to go beat our last required boss in the past and get past the military hangar laser gates. I have the gas mask, so this is in logic. Yeah, there's 2 chests that spawn there after I kill this boss. I kind of decided I was in the area, might as well just go ahead and do it. But at this point, we've already seen that big blob of birds, and that's the hardest boss. It's really the only boss I'm super worried about. Definitely not worried about this boss. This boss is weak to my most powerful weapon. You take the most powerful weapon in the game and then you become weak to it, you kind of aren't a problem. Especially if I have this infinite vertical, I can kind of just bounce like this, and then just gonna take this hit. I don't really care, and he's dead. I don't get any immediate rewards for beating this boss. He doesn't give any items, but he is required to open up a laser gate in the future, and also, like I said, there's 2 treasure chests that show up in the present if you defeat that boss. And hopefully those aren't required. This is the portal to the Temporal Gyre. I could go there now, but it is not in logic until I have the Timespinner wheel, so I'm going to fade that as long as I can. Okay, I need to get out of my deboost through everything mindset because we are now entering a late game area instead of an early game area. And I need to remember that things are actually going to start dealing damage to me. Oh, that was not good. Okay, we're good. I recovered. And there's an Empire Crown. Okay, cool. So we now have all of the gear that we're going to need for the rest of the game. We have our best helmet, best body armor, 2 best accessories. Oh my gosh, you have so much health. Woo, I almost died. Do I have an antidote? Yeah. Let me get rid of that poison here. Oh my gosh, this stupid Shivercopter is taking the place of one of the most tanky enemies in the game. For context, that Shivercopter has 6 HP. It is the least tanky mob in the game, and it replaced one of the most tanky mobs in the game. So it's this little thing that typically has 6 HP, and it had upwards of like 300 instead. All right, so we're going to be heading into this area. Empress Robe. Good, not good enough. We're going to be heading into this kind of endgame area. It's Amadeus's laboratory. I don't love coming here without the tablet because there are a whole bunch of download. Okay. I have to at least use one heal. There's your joy of enemy randomization. If I hadn't healed there, even though there was a save point right there, I would have died. All right, I get to peek that little room. Fortunately, that is a boss that I'm not going to have to beat because all it had was a little restorative there. And it looks like a max sand-up was powering the lab. There's an area over here that I can't get to until I have the A key card, so I'm going to have to skip that, but that's kind of tech anyway. Even if I had the A card, you can make an argument for not doing it. So Star of Lachiem. Yeah, I think we just go ahead and do that. In terms of damage per second output, since the Shadow Seal is based off of missing HP, ooh, I am going to put that on. Pardon me while I do this. Menuing here. Since we are capped out at 128 HP, the Shadow Seal's maximum effectiveness just really isn't going to get hit. So Star of Lachiem allows you to attack as if you had 3 orbs instead of 2. So it's like 150% or 150% of your damage output. So that's really good. We're kind of zooming into an endgame area just because I have faith that... please don't die. I have faith that I will find what I need in these late game areas. Ideally, I get down to a point where I have one piece of the time spinner remaining. And then I go to the pyramid and try and find it there. So that portal only opens up if I have picked up the Merchant Crow. And I have the Merchant Crow. This is another late game. Speaking of late game, this is another late game area, late game boss in terms of its scaling. Yeah, it did like 90 damage to me. That's not good. I can't take another damage, so... Sure. What we're going to do is we're going to play it a little bit safer. I can't take another hit or else I die, so... I'm going to go ahead and heal because I'm about to die. Oh, it actually wouldn't have killed me if I had just stuck with it. All right, so that's halfway. This is the final boss of the game, and the eye orb just isn't big enough to hit it. So that's a bummer. So I'm going to use this big meatball and hit it from across the arena instead. I should be using light wall, actually. Whoa! You tried to juke me. Okay. That was a little bit scarier than it needed to be. That's a librarian hat. And a max aura up. So that was all for no reason, which is a bit disappointing. I see you up there. I see what you're doing. Don't think I don't see you up there. Oh, geez. Okay. That was scary, but we got through it. Hold on. I don't want to die because of memes. Or I have to dash in order to get out from under of that falling enemy. The joys of enemy rando. We're just gonna zoom up here. And we're gonna fight another boss that's gonna be a little bit easier than the one I just did. Oh. Especially because I have the exact counter to this boss. Alright, cool. So I can take one more hit from the plasma. I don't have to worry about this because he's just going to miss me. Haha. And we're going to just play it super careful here. Actually, sometimes these hammers cheat and hit you even though you shouldn't get hit by them. So I'm going to just play it safe and heal. Didn't need to, but All right, max health up. I'm just going to pick it up so I don't have to look at it on my tracker. And we're heading into Emperor's Tower, aka Daddy's Tower. Very, very late game area. So things are going to really hurt if they hit me, and they also have a lot of HP. And there's also a wide array of enemies that are just like hanging out on this floor. So if you can't keep track of which enemy replaced which enemy, you can get a little bit surprised by how much damage something deals. Cool, high ether. And a high potion. We're going to go ahead and warp shard and head to Varnagray Library. We are missing a lot of key items. I'm going to grab this quick save here. The fact that I'm missing so many key items is a little bit scary to me, but I'm just going to follow the gamble for better or worse. Oh, there's the spindle. See, this is what I'm talking about. You follow the gamble. Let that be a lesson to any Timespinner randomizer runners. If you make one bad decision, it can't get worse. Just follow it up with more bad decisions. It could never pay. It's going to pay off every time, and it will never go wrong. Oh, we'll grab that. So we are only missing the Timespinner wheel. All right, so this is that orb swapping I was talking about, where you can trick the game into resetting the timers. And I am just machine gunning my way through this boss, although if I take one more hit, I die, so that's a little bit scary. And he's dead. Eye orb is really good like that. All right, so we are going to clear out the rest of this tower, and then we're going to go to the end game area where the final boss resides. We are not, again, we're not ready to fight the final boss because we are still missing the wheel, but the hope is that the wheel's just going to be there. That's the boss that murdered you for hours? It's a tough one. It's one of those things that it's sort of remind you, hey, the tablet. That's a good find. That means I didn't skip it earlier. That's one of those bosses that's supposed to remind you that time stop exists. All right, so here's hoping I don't die here because I did not save. I just didn't save. Didn't feel like it. Honestly, given the lore, I would probably say it's an Android tablet. Just got a hunch. Plus side of enemy rando, a lot of the enemies here are immune to time stop. And since we have enemy rando, none of these are probably going to be immune to time stop. Unfortunately, I still don't have the time spinner wheel, which is the item that lets me stop time. There was a remark made pre-stream that, as I was describing this game to our host, and he had mentioned that there were time stop mechanics, and I said hopefully, because the actual thing that lets you stop time has a nasty habit of just burying itself deep into a seed. So I kind of deserve this, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, it doesn't have anything. We're just going to go ahead and exit. Do light wall skip if you want me to. So I don't have to do this because I have this infinite vertical, but this is like a cool little trick. Where, like, if you don't have that infinite vertical, you can just have double jump and light wall, and you can just kind of jump over that pit that you're supposed to climb up with that infinite vertical movement that you find in that chest that I just did before I save scummed. We're going to go ahead and grab that portal just to make sure that if this isn't the wheel, which it would be pretty awesome if it was, but if this isn't the wheel, then, yeah, didn't think so. Then we can always just warp back there when we do find it. But that elevator key card and the tablet now provides a whole lot of stuff for us to be able to do. We're going to go ahead and start out here. Get all of these tablet checks. And there's that Kobo. So while we're here, why not? Let's go check the Kobo. It literally could be anywhere, so why not this place? I'm going to go grab a save real quick. My computer is not what it used to be, so sometimes it has a habit of hitching up in a really bad spot and making me take damage. And when I'm stuck at level 1, I need all the help I can get. So we're going to go ahead and grab a safety save, and we're going to hopefully get the wheel in this treasure chest here that is before the boss, and then I don't have to fight it. But unfortunately, we do. So here we go. Okay, this isn't so bad. We're going to go ahead and do this. Oh, geez. Okay. We're actually going to use the Shadow Seal here. I'm just being very nervous about taking another hit because it is very clear to me. Yep. That's why you save. Okay. I was just off by a couple pixels there. Let's do that again, except not as bad. Yeah. That is the first death. I was trying not to take any deaths. But yeah, like I said, it seems a little bit like this is just easier than 1 HP mode. But in 1 HP mode, I'm still getting levels, which means my stats are still going up. In this, I'm just kind of stuck with whatever I have. If I was on 1 HP mode, for instance, instead of 12s here, you would probably be seeing something like 30s or maybe even a little bit higher than that. So while I do, have to deal, I do get to actually tank a hit every once in a while. Ooh, I almost died. Okay, we're fine. Nope. We are going to just heal here. Yep. And then just take the hit. Oh, I'm dead. Dang it. Why won't this thing die? Okay. You know what? I'm a believer. The wheel's going to be here. That or something that's going to lead to the wheel. So we're just going to keep going. Best familiar, I think, really depends on... I mean, none of the familiars in this game are so impactful that there's like a best familiar. I like the Merchant Crow. We are going to re-equip that Shadow Seal. I'm just going to go focus mode here for a second, if you don't mind. Okay. This is going a lot better. Oh, okay. I didn't think I was going to make it that time. This fight just is taking a very long time, isn't it? Oh my gosh, can you run out of HP already? There we go. Oh my gosh. Whew. All right, there's Aura Serpent and Plasma Orb. Okay, well, you know, the point is perseverance, chat. That's the real point. That's the real point. Perseverance. Can talk all day about optimal gameplay and good routing. What really matters is two things. You have a lot of fun and you persevere, and the thing that you do immediately following the hard thing is the thing that it puts you in go mode. That's the important part, is that you do a really hard thing and you succeed at it, and then the literal first thing you do after that is what puts you in go mode. That's the most important part of Timespinner Randomizer, everybody. If you take one thing away from this run, I want you to know that it's always the literal next thing you do after the hard thing that puts you in go mode. All right, we're going to set up for a really cheesy fight here. Yeah, economizer. And this should probably do it. We're actually going to put Radiant Orb here as well. And while we're stopping time, hey, remember how you can stop time in this game? Yeah, isn't that wild? I'm going to stack a whole bunch of light walls. And then, huzzah, look at how much damage I'm doing without trying. So this is the Maw. It's got a cheesy spot here where it can't hit me. I don't know if you noticed. It only has one attack that can hit me. And I'm kind of scared it's going to kill me in one shot, so I'm going to dodge it. And I'm just going to stop time here and stack some more light walls. And hopefully... it's fine. There's no cause for alarm. Okay, there it is. And this is the final boss. We're going to give ourselves an ether here. Might as well do two. Jin Inferno, Economizer Ring. This should probably cover it. This is actually the second to last boss in the game that is replacing the last boss in the game. So, got a promotion. Good for Sandman. He's got two phases here. He's got 6,666 total HP. Once I deal 3,333, he's going to shift into this little hourglass form, which is really neat. And I just have to deal another 3,333 again. And I'm still not sure that I survive a single hit from one of these attacks, so I have to basically play this as if I'm on one-hit KO mode, except I'm not dealing as much damage as I used to be. All right. 270 at a time, though, is pretty good. I just have to not get hit by this. Gonna take it easy, and that's time. Exclamation points in chat is the way that we say GG in the Timespinner community due to this little dialogue box here. And that is Timespinner Randomizer. It ended up being about exactly on my my estimate, which, hooray! I wanted to be way under, but unfortunately bounced off of that boss a couple of times. Anyway, thank you so much. We're going to see how many times I hit my head. 16 sounds about right.
Got to enjoy a game that has a bonk counter.
Yeah. That is what happens when you use the infinite vertical item and you hit your head against the ceiling. That is where that counter goes up. Okay, so yeah, that was Timespinner Randomizer. I know we're behind, so I don't want to say too much more stuff to get the other runners in here. I think I cursed myself by saying that I think I was going to come in super under the estimate, but all I want to say is thanks to the randomizer community, the Timespinner Randomizer community, and thanks to the FFR community for putting this on. It's a really great cause. I really, really love all y'all. You're great people. And Timespinner 2 is available to wishlist on Steam, so go do that. Wishlist Timespinner 2.